Welcome back, dear learners. Before the ad break, we introduced financial indicators. In today's class, we said we are focusing on operating efficiency. So let's start with the first one. The first financial indicator that we're going to look at is operating expenses on sales. This is a financial indicator that calculates the percentage of operating expenses on sales. Here is the formula. The formula will be your operating expenses over sales multiplied by 100 over 1. Very important that you multiply by 100 over 1. I want to remind you, dear learners, that in the question paper, you will be given the formula sheet. However, you don't need to over-rely on the formula sheet. You need to know the formulas so that when you get into the exam, you can still do your calculations very well. So do not over-rely on the formula sheet. With us here, we are given an extract of the Statement of Comprehensive Income that ends on the 31st of December. And we're given for the year 2022 and the year 2023. So what we want to do now is to do some particular calculations. Remember, we are calculating the percentage operating expenses on sales. All right, so here we want to do the calculation. We already know the formula. So we are going to start with the year 2022. In the year 2022, our operating expenses, here is our operating expenses, 46,260. So if I'm to calculate for the year 2022, I'll take my 46,260. 46,260, and then I divide it by my sales. My sales is 109,000. Then I multiply everything by 100 over 1. Let me repeat it again. I'll take my operating expenses, which is this one here. For the year 2022, it is 46,260. 46,260. Then I say my 46,260, I divide it by my sales, 109,000. I multiply everything by 100 over 1. Then let's punch that in our calculators, and then we'll get 42.4%. 42.4%. Once we have calculated this, we're going to comment. But before we can comment, we need to go to the next year and see what was the percentage. Because with financial indicators, you have to remember the 3 C's. The 3 C's. The first C is we calculate. We calculate. The second C is we compare. And then the last C is we comment. We comment. So when we look at financial indicators, we calculate, we compare, and then we comment. That's the 3 C's. So far we have calculated. When you have your information for the year 2023, this is the 2023 information. We want to calculate the percentage operating expenses on sales. The percentage operating expenses on sales. And remember, it is your operating expenses over your sales. So we want our operating expenses. But here we are not given the amount. It is unknown. Can we calculate it? All right? Make sure you have a calculator. So let us start then. So the first place is to say our sales minus our cost of sales. That should give us gross profit. So we have 124,000 minus 69. How much do you get if you say 124 minus 69? You will get 55,000. 55,000. Then you add other operating income, that is your 22,000. Then you get 77,000. That 77,000, then you say minus 44,500 minus 44,500. Then you will get your operating expenses. How much do you get on your calculator? Thank you. You get 32,500. So when I come here now, I now know my operating expenses, that it is 32,500. I now want to get my sales amount. My sales is given, this is 124,000. So I'll come here, then I'll divide this by 124,000. 32.5 divide by 124,000. Then I multiply everything by 100/1. Very important. We want to calculate the percentage. Let's punch that in our calculators. Then you will see you will get 26.2%. 26.2%. This becomes the percentage operating expenses on sales. Now remember what I said. First, we calculate. Secondly, we compare. So now we have, for the 2 years, we have 2022, we have 2023. Now we can compare. Then we can comment. Let us go and see if we can do that. We have our 2022. This is our 2022 amount. This is our 2023 amount. When we are commenting, there are aspects that we need to include in our comments. Number one, we need to have the name of the financial indicator. The name of the financial indicator. It must be there in our comment. Number two, we need to mention the trend. The trend, we're simply saying, do we have an increase or do we have a decrease? That has to be mentioned. Thirdly, we also need figures. All right? So we need three things when we comment: name, trend, figures. Let's see if we can comment here. You can see in 2022, it was 42.4. And then in 2023, it is 26.2. So our percentage operating expenses on sales, you can see here that it has decreased. The percentage operating expenses on sales have decreased from 42.4% in 2022 to 26.2% in 2023. All right? So here I have the name. That's number one. And then here I have the trend. That's number two. And then here I have my figures. That's number three. So I have all the three aspects that I need when I comment on my financial indicators. Then I then say the business has managed its expenses well because the percentage operating expenses on sales has decreased. Therefore, the business was able to manage its expenses very well. Dear learners, let's go for an ad break and I'll see you shortly.